Salvador Anglada joins us for this episode of What's Next. He is the Chief Executive Officer of Optasia. Before we talk any business, Salvador, I know that you are Spanish and you are from Madrid originally. Are you still celebrating? Congratulations for being World Cup champions. What a wonderful achievement for your country.
Yeah, well, thank you very much. Yes, it's gonna, we continue celebrating. We cannot stop. It's been a fantastic 3, 4 days. We felt we were so happy what happened. And also we felt the energy, not only in Spain, I have to say across. I mean, a lot of people were supporting the Spanish team against Argentina. And it was great. I got so many congratulations from so many people across. Yeah, fantastic moment.
Oh,
Second star
fantastic.
for us. Yeah, great to feel how we're feeling and how the country's feeling about
Oh,
this win. Yeah.
absolutely wonderful. And I'm assuming assumptions are dangerous, but being from Madrid, you must be a real Madrid supporter as well.
It is.
So you have a you have a you have a new coach. You have some fantastic new players. So I'm looking forward to watching your team playing this season.
Thank you very much. Mourinho is coming. You're totally right. Let's see what happens this
Yes,
next season.
exactly.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
And you've got Mark Cucurella on your wing, on your fullback there, which is on the left back, which is fantastic. But listen, we're not here to talk football. You and I can talk football for hours. I'm here to talk about Optasia and what an impressive start and what an interesting company. For people who are not familiar with Optasia, what is Optasia? What does Optasia do?
So we are, I like to say we are the leading AI platform allowing to provide financial inclusion at scale. And what does it mean? We provide microloans, small loans to people in a short period of time, unsecured, absolutely unsecured loans, and we do it at scale because we provide that in 38 countries. We provide more than 32 million credit decisions per day, and we distribute more than $6 billion across all those countries. We do that using what we call alternative data. We do not use the normal structured data that the banks use. In these countries, people are unbanked. And what we do is try to find out what are the data that we can use in order to recreate something important, which is the behavior of people related to credit. How much we can provide to someone in order them to pay back, how much they can afford to get that, because all these credits, as I said, are fully unsecured. So there is no collateral related to that. If people cannot pay, we cannot do anything about that.
That is absolutely fascinating, and so you're doing something completely different to how it was done in the past historically, and this is all driven by AI. You're using AI effectively to do this as a tool, which is quite amazing. We're going to
Yeah.
talk about that, but you carry on. You wanted to add something to
No,
that?
I mean, maybe the important thing is that there is a huge population, we call it unbanked people. They don't have access to financial services in a traditional way, more than 1.3 billion people in the world. And these people, they also deserve have access to these financial service credits that they need for their daily life. And what you are right is that the combination of these different data that we process through AI through our algorithms allowed us to create these new profiles. It's like alternative credit bureau that does not exist in those countries. And that's why we say we are the champions of financial inclusion, because we are inviting all these people to be part of the system thanks to the technology.
You know, it's a privilege to be able to connect the dots with people who have been unbanked, and you're quite right. You know, it runs into hundreds of millions of people. You know, we take it for granted that I mean, you and I, for example, we've been exposed to banking systems that have been around for hundreds of years, and we've got the digital connectivity means, etc., etc. But the reality is there are hundreds of millions of people. So for you, it must be such a privilege to add such value to people's lives. And you were appointed as the CEO of Optasia just last year. What does it mean to have been chosen for such an important role? And it's really a very transformative role for humankind, I see it as.
Well, and eventually, I mean, this is why I choose this role, exactly as you said, because I mean, I've been running companies on, I mean, all my professional career, different countries, different sectors. But when the opportunity came and was in front for me, to me, in front of me, it was like something absolutely different. Because I mean, for the first time in my life, I could combine something important, which is the business itself, the purpose of the business, with the business itself. Normally, everybody talks about purpose. Everybody wants to have purpose, but I mean, not too many people have the opportunity to combine both good business with the purpose to do something different, good for the community, to create financial inclusion. That combination is so strong for me. It creates so much energy that that was the main reason I decided to lead this project, to lead I mean the business, but not only that, to lead the journey to become a public company, to run an IPO that allowed, I mean, not only the existing investors, but the public and the consumers in general to be able to invest in a project like this through the stock exchange.
But you've had such a very interesting corporate history. I was looking back before you joined Optasia. You've had some many senior leadership roles. You've been at Telefonica, for example, and I'm sure you've learned many lessons along the way. If you look back through your leadership at all these various organizations that are all well known globally, what are the most important lessons that you personally have learned along the way that are now guiding you, as you said, to this purpose-driven role that you have at Optasia?
Well, I think at the end of the day, everything goes to single words, in my opinion, or to single to main ideas. One is leadership, and the other one is people. Everything is about leadership. It's about clarity. It's about having the vision, having the clarity to go to the place that you think you should go, and to go steady to that place. If you know where you go, it's much easier. You have that clarity. It's much easier to convince everybody around that specific idea, to create the energy and then to create the momentum towards that specific idea. The second, definitely for me, it's about people, and it's about, I mean, having the right people on board, getting the right talent, but also make them working together. Collaboration, it's a big thing. And sometimes you have the best stars, the best players. We were talking about football 1 minute ago, but not necessary. When you have good players, but also you make them playing together, is when you create magic, because this collaboration amplify. So when you combine, I mean, the right leadership, the right vision with the right team and the right collaboration, I think the projects go ahead, go forward, and you create, I mean, the success that you're looking for.
Wow, that's so inspiring, and it all starts with that belief, right? And I can hear it in your voice, I can hear it in your energy, the belief in what you do. Now, late last year, Optasia was listed on the Johannesburg Stock Exchange. Can you talk about the importance of this as part of your journey to drive this financial inclusion on the continent? And why did you choose the Johannesburg Stock Exchange?
Well, I mean, first of all, I mean, we are an African company, even if we operate in also in Asia and Middle East. But at the end, I mean, out of the 38 countries, I mean, more than half of them are in Africa. This is very important. Second, I mean, this is the continent where financial inclusion using alternative technology maybe is the most important one. Is the one that, I mean, has the largest opportunity. Johannesburg and South Africa. Also, South Africa is a very important market for us. We do more than 10% of our business in South Africa. And Johannesburg Stock Exchange is the most important exchange across Africa. And I would say, I mean, one of the leading stock exchange, definitely in the world. I mean, outside of United States, maybe if you look at Europe and Africa, I mean, they are at par with most of the important stock exchange in the world. So that was the decision, but also the decision to make the company public. It was is a big decision as well, because I mean, it comes with a process that, first of all, need to be successful, and our process was successful. At the end, we were on top of the range of the valuation that we were looking for. It was heavily oversubscribed, and we had the success of become the largest IPO in Africa and the largest fintech IPO even in Europe and Middle East. But it's always a journey that you need to, until you go to the end, you don't know if it's going to be successful or not. In our case, it was. And also, it was important because it shows the way for all the companies, all the fintech, all the tech companies that is possible. It's possible to IPO. It's possible to IPO in Africa. It's possible to IPO in the Johannesburg Stock Exchange. I mean, Optasia is not only a success in terms of becoming public, but it's also a reference, a light for a lot of companies that they would love to follow the same route in the future.
Wow. Well, listen, congratulations. I mean, those are some big milestones that you spoke about in terms of the size of the IPO and the oversubscription. I've been watching it with great interest, so it's absolutely fascinating. So, congratulations to you and your team. But partnerships, without partnerships, you're not able to achieve what you want to achieve. Can you talk to us about some of those partnerships that you have built with major South African organizations, financial service providers, mobile network operators, to serve the local market, to drive Optasia's vision going forward?
Well, definitely not only that. I mean, we are a partnership is in our DNA. I mean, we are a B2B2X company. We cannot do what we're doing with our partners. Our partners are the most important part of all what we're doing, of course, and the final customer as well. But with them, they are the ones that allowed us to have what we call the distribution rails. They are the ones that allowed us to access to customers. They are the ones that allowed us to access to the data that we use in order with our algorithms, and they are the ones that allowed us to use their mechanisms to disperse and collect the loans that we provide. So absolutely critical distribution rails for us. Also the banks, because we rent. Let me talk that you use that word. We rent their balance sheet because at the end they are the lender on record. It's true that Optasia take the whole risk. We underwrite the whole risk, all the responsibility on our side, but we use them and we use their balance sheet in order to provide the loan. So absolutely right. And specifically, I mean, some of them are coming from South Africa. You right mentioned we work with telecom players like MTN or like Vodacom. Very, very important for us. We use also some of the South African bank institutions. First rank is not only, I mean, our partner in some of the countries that we use, but it's also our shareholder. It's a very important shareholder. They have more than 25% of the company. Standard Bank is a very important partner for us because it's the one that is allowing us, I mean, to structure our capital market and our financial structure to be sure that we are able to scale at the speed that we are scaling. So, and of course, outside South Africa, multiple entities, other telcos, Airtel, Orange, Jazz, or banks like UBA, EcoBank, Access, and so many are the ones that are working with us in order to make it happen. What we're doing in Africa and in the different countries.
Well, listen, I mean, those are some big heavyweight partners, and they're the right partners to have. When you look at the African continent, and you look at their presence across the continent, and there is no question that you are achieving incredible success so far. I was just looking at your recent earnings, and your revenue grew by 76%, which beat your IPO guidance that you put out when you first launched on the stock exchange. I mean, that's extraordinary stuff. What do you believe is the secret to Optasia's continued and impressive growth?
Well, first of all, I mean there is a big need there. There is a big need in the market. There is something that is not totally covered. I mean, there are not so many companies that have been able to combine, I mean, all the technology, the partnerships, and the ecosystems in order to do so. So what we are doing is serving a latent demand, a real demand that is there. So for us, it's as fast as we execute. I mean, as much demand we will able to cover. So demand is there. Second, technology, of course. I mean, the platform, the algorithms, the way that we use the data, we are able to access to more than 5,000 different data points, and we create features per person, above 100,000 features per person, which means that we reprofile people with all the type of data that are not the normal data that we use, and this is quite unique and quite special, and it's the circuit of what we are doing. Then, of course, I mean the size. I mean, here there is a like a wheel effect. As more customers we have, as more data we use, as more we learn, and as more we learn, we are more precise and better in the way that we predict the way that people are going to behave related to credit. And this is a unique thing. I mean, maybe we have also the benefit of the first mover here. And last but not least, I think execution. I mean, working with 88 countries, working with 38 different regulatory environments, working with so many partners. It's a complex thing, and executing properly is absolutely critical. Growing at that speed implies being very good on the operational side in order to manage all these huge volumes of partners, data, and customers.
Yeah, that regulatory environment, as soon as you mentioned regulatory, every country has its own rules, and that adds more complexity. But I guess that you guys are experts at this, so you know exactly where you're going and what you're doing and how you're doing it. And I see as well that you've been very busy over the recent weeks. There's a company called Finergy, which you bought for R500 million. They do electricity credit. I see that FirstRand, which you mentioned earlier, is your biggest shareholder. They increased their stake in Optasia by an additional 6% shareholding. I think it was a $1.48 billion deal. This is very, very exciting, and it's adding tremendous impetus to Optasia. Can we expect more announcements in the coming weeks and months? And why have you decided to purchase the electricity finance company Finergy and FirstRand increasing their stake? Very interesting times. Are there more acquisitions? Is there more shareholding changes coming?
That's something that
A
we
lot of
cannot mention.
questions.
I mean, we're a public company, as you can imagine. But I mean, you just mentioned two of them that are important. Yes, I mean, FirstRand is trusting us a lot. They started, I mean, their investment with 20% of the company. As you said, they increased to 26, and that means that they really trust on what we are doing. They like what we're doing, and I think at one point of time we can try to amplify or help them with the technology in some of the markets that they are operating, and this is what we are doing. In the case of Finergy, this is a long-term bet that we have. We see the same way that Optasia, because we have not talked about that, started 12 years ago with airtime credit solutions, providing airtime credit to the people that were lagging behind credit in their mobile phones, and that was the beginning of the company. Although today this is only 25% of what we're doing, but we believe that the prepaid electricity market, it will need also advanced electricity for people that they don't have the cash at that point of time, and that's why we bought this company. Finergy is unique in this specific world. They have unique patents allowing us to deeply integrate with the exchange of the utility companies, and we saw that as another source of growth in the future, a big need in the market, and also we see a lot of complementary with what we're doing, big synergies. So this acquisition, I believe it will come with a lot of growth and success in the coming years in most of the countries that we are operating today.
Fascinating stuff. When you look back at your life and when you look back at your career, Salvador, you've had a very successful and a very busy career, and I'm sure you've learned from many challenges that you've come across the way. If you had to go back in time to the start of your professional career, is there any advice that you'd give yourself today that said, well, maybe I should change that? And where I'm going with this is, what advice do you give young people today in an era of AI where there's a lot of uncertainty? And I don't know, do you see AI as a challenge for young, growing business people today? What is your advice to yourself if you had to go back? And what's your advice to young people in an era filled with AI?
Well, well, first of all, I see AI as a big opportunity. Some people see as a threat. I do not see that. I see that it's going to amplify and accelerate all what we're doing in an order of magnitude. It's a big transformation. Maybe it's the biggest that we have had ever in terms of the impact in a period of time. Not in terms of impact, is that the impact is going to happen in a short period of time, but it's going to boost productivity. It's going to boost, I mean, the capabilities of people, and I think it's going to allow us to do things that we do not even imagine today. But I'm fully optimistic on the evolution of that, and I think people that are young people today that they have burned with this technology. They were burning with this technology. They will be able to use that in a way that amplify their capabilities. But talking about young people and advices and advise them, and also thinking about my the time that I begin working. What I think it's important. The three things are very important for me. One is the ambition. I believe everybody need to keep the ambition of learning all the time, to be at speed on all what happens, to understand that I mean it's a always is a learning process, and that ambition to be learning every single time, it's critical. Some people believe that they finish the university and that now there is another step. No, you continue learning and you will continue learning all your life. I realized that it's very important to be bold. I realize that it's very important to take the opportunities that come. It doesn't matter from where those opportunities are coming from. If the opportunities are coming outside your country, you need to go outside. You need to go to places that you would never imagine. But the opportunities there, do it. Be bold. Try to expose yourself to new things. Don't try to stay on your own comfort zone. Try to be out of your comfort zone, because that will always come with opportunity that you cannot even imagine. And at least this is my experience. And maybe the last one that I believe it's important, or at least it was important for me, people need to be patient. And normally, when you are young, you are not patient, and you think that life goes, and you lose trains, and you lose opportunities, and it's not the case. I think being patient, if you combine the ambition to learn, being bold, and take opportunities, and be patient, things will come to you, and you will be able to demonstrate the value that you have inside. At least this is what happened. It has happened in my career, and this is what I can share with the people that want to listen to me.
That's fantastic advice. Thank you very much for that. I guess that when you are, you need to balance life, and it's also important to switch off and take time off. We all got families, and we've got children and partners and all these kind of things. So it's important to balance that aspect of life as well. How do you balance your life being so busy at Optasia, looking at your executive roles that you've had in the past? Is it important? Do you manage to switch off, or can you just not switch off and be able to multifunction in different environments? What's relaxation mean to you, Salvador?
I like that expression, multi-factor, different environments. I like it. And I think exactly is what it is. I never switch off, but I always switch off as well. I'm able to switch on and switch off very quickly. I'm able to handle and to change quite fast the different environments, including the one that create relax to me. So my people know that I'm 24 times 7 available, but that don't mean that I'm not enjoying life, and this switch on and switch off, and I've been able to change the environment is one of my specific capabilities that allow me to enjoy life at the same time I'm enjoying what I'm doing, because I'm enjoying a lot what I'm doing. This is the other thing. I'm enjoying also what I'm doing. I'm enjoying working. I enjoy running companies or running Optasia. But of course, I mean, also I have a lot of hobbies. I like reading. I'm a sportman. I'm a golf player. I like sailing. I travel a lot. I like to be with my family, with my friends. So yes, I think it's about combining all the time what I'm doing, rather than I'm not the type of person that say I will do that when I retire. No, I'm doing it right now because I mean life is short, and I believe you need to while you're running, you need to enjoy what you are doing, including the relationships and including being with your friends and your family.
Fantastic. My final question to you is there one person or perhaps a book or something that you read that's been your biggest influence in your life? Is it a family figure? Is it a book that you read growing up? What's been the biggest influence in your life that has taken Salvador Anglada to where he is today?
Well, there are a lot of books and ideas that has happened, but I mean, someone has influenced a lot in my life is my father, I would say. My father, he just passed away already 3 years ago, and he has a long life. He lived until 98, long and healthy life. But he was a big inspiration for me. A lot of conversation with him. He was a successful businessman, but he was a great human being. Quite cultivated, an amazing conversation, and he always gave me fantastic advices in my life, and also allowed me to participate of his success since I was young at home. He was very vocal, very open. He always shared and allowed me to understand a lot of the things that I'm doing from the very beginning. So I have a big, I mean, I was very close to him, and I really, really, out of a lot of people that I admire and I'm listening, is the person that has had the biggest influence on my life.
Absolutely beautiful. Salvador Anglada, it's been an absolute pleasure and honor talking to you, Chief Executive Officer at Optasia. I thank you for your time, sir.
Very much. Thank you very much, Aki. It was a pleasure to talk with you this morning. Thank you very much.
Gracias.
Thank you. Gracias.
Gracias.
Adiós. Gracias.